Today is a very exciting day as I'm finally dropping the body off to get blasted. Before we drop it off, I think it's a good idea to have one final look, just as a memory. It will look completely different when I pick it up, so I think it's kind of cool to capture what it looks like right now. We can see the interior, well, or what's left of it. I really did strip everything out of the truck, except for some of the sound dampening plates on the roof, as this part will be cut out. This is the engine bay. You can also see in these places there's some rust inside, so this is also mainly why I decided to just get it blasted. Here you can see the cockpit or the front. It's super bizarre to see it so empty. Here you can see the front a bit better. You can see that I really stripped everything out of it. This is where my seat used to be. Here you can see the front. I really did my best stripping it down. It's quite intimidating to look at it like this because I also have to put it back together. These are the only spots of rust I could detect on the truck. I'm not sure what caused it. Maybe the seal of the window was leaking or water got trapped behind the panel. They are rusted on both sides. The rest of the truck is in really nice condition even though it's 50 years old. It's a bit dirty, but hey, it's an off-road vehicle. It needs to see mud. Here you can see the car from the front. I think the paint looks nice in this color, so I'm thinking of repainting it in the same color. The dark gray suits it, but I'm afraid it might get hot in summer. What do you guys think? The underside is actually the reason why I went to blast the car, because it's extremely filthy. I pressure washed it, I dry iced it, and the crud just wouldn't come off. I even hit it with a chisel and still no luck. I can't wait to see this removed. Time to load it up. The bridge is an absolute lifesaver, so easy to load it. We put these blocks underneath so the body could rest on it. They also prevent damaging or pressing into anything. Here we're dropping the body down. We need to be careful with the side steps. And it's down. I'm really happy my dad is always helping me out with these things. With the body loaded, it was time to hit the road and I spotted this real nice Defender. I'm a sucker for Landies. We had some extremely strong winds while driving and noticed that the body was moving sideways, so we quickly pulled over and then my dad adjusted it. Close call, haha. After a little incident on the highway, we made it to our destination, Vocor Tools, where Noord will be treated. There was this very cool drawing that you see immediately when you get through the front door. This is going to be... Here we are in the workshop, and there on the rotisserie you see the car that's being prepared for blasting. The owner gave us a tour and it was really cool to see how everything works. This is kind of like a candy store for me, filled with all kinds of cool project cars. These guys specialize in blasting oldtimers. This is a super cool place where I'm gonna have Noord blasted. I mean, look what I have standing here. This is pretty awesome. This is the place in here they will put on the primer. There you can see in the back some projects that they're working on right now. This cool old Dutch police van. But yeah, super cool place. Look at it. It's so cool. This is the company car, I think, because it has all their stickering on it. But yeah, this is really dope. And then over here they have a shop where they sell tools and anything you need to restore your car. Yeah, I like this place. Very nice. Here's the body of Noord. As you can see, they put it in a rotisserie so we can turn it around. This will make working on it a lot easier. The owner then also suggested something really cool to me, and that's that I'm going to try to blast the car myself, or at least a large part of it. I immediately jumped at the opportunity. This is something I've always wanted to try. They're now removing something out of it, and then Noord's body is gonna go into the chamber. Here we're pushing the car inside. Because it's on the rotisserie, this is very easy to do. Blasting needs to be done in a special chamber because it creates a lot of dust. Actually, the stuff that comes off of this is treated as chemical waste. The owner explained to me that buying the stuff to blast the car with is just as expensive as getting rid of it. We managed to push it in until we hit the sand, so the forklift had to help us out a bit. Sometimes heavy machinery is needed. It's time to say goodbye to 50 years of history. Noord is going to get the ultimate anti-aging treatment. I'm really curious to find out what's underneath when I start peeling back the layers. They used pretty cancerous paint back then, so I'm not expecting too much rust. Let's get started. Here you can see well how the rotisserie works. It's pretty easy to turn the car like this. We're now putting it in position for the first round of blasting. As I'm a complete beginner and I've never done this before, I'm going to be starting with the underside. They'll give me some instructions, put me in a suit, and then I can get to blasting. They also lowered the pressure a bit so I can't damage anything. Just double checking to make sure I really removed everything. Here I'm getting some directions on how to operate the blasting gun. I'm not really sure what it's called, but it looks really cool. He's showing me at what angle and how far I need to be from the metal to blast it correctly. Now it's my turn. I was pretty anxious, not gonna lie, to try this out, but also super excited at the same time. And here you can see how easily the paint and underbody coating is coming off. It's like magic. After my initial work was inspected, I got some feedback on how to do it even better and on how to operate the machine correctly. Now it's time for me to start blasting away. Here I'm attempting the first bit of blasting on my own. It's really satisfying to immediately see result. The paint came off, a nice zinc layer was revealed underneath. This is pure bliss. Look how easy that nasty undercoating is coming off. It was a thorn in my eye. I started to get the hang of this and I was really enjoying it. There are a few things to look out for when blasting. Don't stay too long in one spot and don't get too close to the object you're blasting, as this can cause damages. You don't want to deform your classic. I'm making really good progress. The red stuff you see isn't rust, but this is actually the red primer paint that Volvo used back in the day. I'm in a full suit with an oxygen supply. This is stuff you really don't want to breathe in as it contains lead. It's also really cool that you can see all the small weld spots appear. Here you can see well how much dust is created in the process. Even though I was wearing a full suit, when I had a shower later that day, the water coming off of me was black. These small particles literally get everywhere, but the result will definitely be worth it. Let's have a look at what I've done so far. I've taken off my suit and waited for the dust to settle, and here you can see some of the results. The rubber is a bit difficult to get off. I also noticed some of this filler on the car. I assume they put this on when it was still in military service. This was quite a bizarre discovery for me, as I wouldn't expect that on a military truck. I didn't expect that they would care about minor dents, but apparently they took very good care of these Swedish army vehicles. I think it's looking great so far. Now it's time to fill up the machine. I first turn off the air and then release the pressure. You can hear it hissing out. They showed me how to operate the machine myself as you go through the material quite quickly. Here I'm opening the lid. You can see it's a bit heavy. I then put on this filter. This will ensure that no big particles end up in the machine. You don't want to shoot projectiles. Now it's time to fill it up. I'm actually blasting my car with glass, as sand would be too aggressive. The sand would blast away the zinc coating, and that's something I do not want. It also transfers heat into the panels way more than glass does, and if too much heat gets into the panels, it could deform them. We want to avoid that at all costs. The machine takes 2 bags of grit. This will keep me busy for about 30 minutes. Puts it into perspective how much material it eats. I then filter out all the big particles, take the filter off and put it away and lock the machine back up. Then the air goes back on and I can continue blasting. Let's not forget to put the suit back on. I also noticed the more I blast, the more dust is accumulating, like on the roof. The white stuff on the roof is not where I blasted, it's just pure dust that's coming off of the car. I'm really grateful I got the opportunity to experience this myself, and what's also really cool is that they're going to teach me how to spray on the epoxy primer as well. The next episode will be on that. Now let's get back to blasting. Here I'm kind of blasting the final parts. I won't be blasting the entire car, as again, I am not a pro and the inside needs to be done as well. They explained to me that once you start blasting the inside, you basically blast blind, and these guys have been doing it for years and can do it by feeling. I just don't possess the same skills. I'll also clean up the outside and blast over any spots that I might have missed. What is also really cool is that you can see that some panels in the back are lighter. This is because these panels are made of aluminium. The rest of the car is made of steel. The aluminium plates also have zinc on them. This is why I assume they made the cap out of steel for safety reasons, as I know aluminium doesn't hold up well when you crash. And I've crashed this truck. I rolled it 3 times and look in what condition it is. It held up extremely well. To finish it off, I blasted the front some more, but with the front, I by far struggled the most. I'm not sure if this was because of the angle or that the paint on here was just tougher. For some reason, it took me much longer to get it off. Here you can see me blasting the front from a POV view, and you can see it's a bit tougher to get the paint off here. I need to keep the blaster longer in one spot, and it's still not really willing to come off that easily. It might just be that I'm doing something wrong. Here you can see that I did make some progress though, but I'll leave the rest to the professionals. After a full day of blasting, I'm pretty worn down. I then changed my nozzle from a 4mm to a 3mm one so that I could ride on the car. The guy that usually blasts the car there suggested this, and of course I couldn't pass up on this opportunity. I had to leave my signature on this project. I thought it was a nice touch to write his name on the side. What's also cool is that you can see the green military paint coming through. Paint that was originally used is super tough. The grey paint that's on top is Hammerite. The previous owner put this on and this just chipped off. What do you guys think for my first try? 10 out of 10 signature? Here you can kind of see what I've managed to do in one day with zero experience. I think I did quite okay. Haha, it's pretty dusty in here still and I took my mask off. So I'm nice and dirty, but look at the car. I think it looks great. It's super dusty in here, but yeah. Now let's look at some of the results. As you can see, the majority of the zinc is still on the panels, which I'm very happy about as this will continue to protect my car. What a lot of people seem to forget is that zinc is a sacrificial coating and the zinc here has been on for 50 years, so it won't be as thick anymore as it was 50 years ago. A lot of people said to me that I was going to ruin the car by blasting it, but I have to strongly disagree. Now, after it's been blasted completely, it will be put in an epoxy primer and will be very much protected from the elements. The blasting also reveals any damages. Any rust that was on the car has been blasted away. It needs minor welding in both window sills, but apart from that, it's in really great condition. The guys that work there will still blast the inside and also this will be sprayed into an epoxy primer. But I'm so happy with the results. I think it looks great. It's also really funny that you can see all the small spot welds now that the car has been blasted. Here are my doors and windows that have already been blasted and put in an epoxy primer. This hasn't been done by me, but I will be spraying my own car in epoxy primer and I hope I can do just as good of a job as these guys did. It's going to look brand new once we're finished with it. This is what North used to look like. And this is where we're currently at. What a difference. Such a big transformation. Another before shot of the underneath of the car. It's so good that all this crud is gone. Look at the results. I'm beyond happy with this. The car is going to be looking brand new. But as you can see, the body is not the only thing that I've been working on. In the meantime, I've been building my chassis back up. Chassis is rolling again. Many hours have gone into this and it's really nice to see some progress. Let's have a closer look. I also assembled all the steering components already. I left a little burn mark on there because one of the nipples, I forgot to detach it before galvanizing, so it had a lot of zinc on it. I needed to burn that off. But yeah, apart from that, the chassis is mostly together. I really love how the axles turned out with the red portals and then the axle housing being dark gray, the same color as all the steering components. And I think it's going to be a great looking car once I'm finished with it. It's really nice to have this back together. It's much easier to move it around the garage like this. Also put the engine mounts back in. But yeah, I think it's starting to look super nice. You can see it from the side. I'll be putting different tires on as well. I'll go to 17-inch rims and 37s. So it's going to be a bit bigger than what I was currently running. Tow hooks back on. Here you can see it from the back. I am so happy with this. So much work. So many hours went into this. And it's finally starting to come together. Upcoming week, I'll be applying the epoxy primer on Noord and then he's ready for paint. Thanks for watching and I see you guys on the next one.